Danielle.
Family and friends, thank you so much for joining us tonight at Kinneret Celebrations. 6 months ago, I was unsure in what state I would be standing here this evening, or whether Kinneret would literally be standing at all. Although Kinneret would prefer it if we don't make a big deal about it, when your child has experienced multiple major health challenges, every milestone they reach bears extra significance. So it is with enormous emotion, and after having shed tears at every opportunity that we have attended over the last 12 years, that Danny and I welcome you all here tonight to celebrate Kinneret reaching the age of Mitzvah. We hope you enjoy the vibe of Yom HaKinneret in honor of our yummy Kinneret. As many of you will remember, Kinneret was a very, very quiet toddler who spent much of her early years sitting on my lap with her face buried into me. Kinneret was almost always by my side during this time, and as a result, we developed a bond stronger than most, which endures till today, and for which I am enormously grateful. They say that everyone has a different language of love, a different way in which they express their love towards another person. It seems that my language of love is in hours of gluing, which manifested itself tonight in the chocolate and wine wrappers on the table. During the time in which I spent doing that mindless task over and over, I had the opportunity to reflect upon the journey Kinneret has travelled thus far. Kinneret, something amazing happened over the years, and you started to believe in yourself more and more, to become the self-assured, talented, capable young lady that you are today. Today, you seek out roles in which you can perform in front of others. You have been chosen to represent your class time and time again in quizzes and competitions, and you often win them. You are blessed with your father's intelligence. You work hard, and with the exception made for your late arrival most mornings, the disdain for mornings coming from my side, your report card is consistently impeccable. You are also blessed with my obstinance. Despite being accepted into the competitive school which I may have chosen for you, you told me exactly where you will, in fact, be going next year. I am proud of you for knowing your own mind. I am also proud of your newfound willingness to try new things and to take risks, like a 60-foot near vertical water slide. You grab life by the horns and you live it. When the willingness to try new things eventually applies to trying new foods, my job with you will be done. Kinneret, when you were tiny, Abba and I were guests at a Bar Mitzvah celebration, where the man of that moment was too shy to get up to speak as was expected of him. As I'm too shy away from public speaking and attention, usually leaving Abba to speak on my behalf, I understood the boy well. That evening, I promised myself that I wouldn't place any expectations on you that were impossible to meet, and that when it was your turn, I would speak for you. However, last year, you surprised us by asking us to be allowed to introduce Avital at her Bar Mitzvah party, and once again, you proved to us that one should never underestimate you. So, as it is superfluous for me to speak any longer, it is with enormous pleasure that I now call upon Avital to return the favour and introduce you this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Avital.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just over a year ago, Kinneret and I stood here in opposite rows as she introduced me at my Bar Mitzvah. We all knew Kinneret as a fairly shy girl, and back then we couldn't imagine that she'd be willing to stand here and speak in front of 200 people. Not only did she manage to do that, but we saw a girl who was clearly growing up and becoming confident. And if you thought that was impressive, we're now over a year later, and tonight Kinneret is the star of the show, the center of attention. In fact, many of you probably don't know, but Kinneret is actually a YouTube star who goes by the stage name Ella. Mommy and Papa told me not to do this, but self-promotion is always good, so go subscribe to us kids on YouTube. I've always been the big sister, the older, the braver, and wiser one. But I can actually remember the exact moment when the roles reversed. It was just over a year ago. We had been on all the water slides at Atlantis, except the scariest looking slide in the world, with an 18-meter drop landing in a shark tank. And it was called the Leap of Faith. There was no way we were going on that. Eventually we went up, and I was first in line, but I couldn't do it. I was ready to go back, when suddenly you stepped forward. And then my little sister, the cute little girl with curly hair, who always followed me, was plunging down at 100 kilometers per hour into a shark tank. I had no choice but to follow, and I have to tell you, it was one of the best things I ever did. So thank you, Kinneret, for always being there for me, for making me laugh, for being cheeky with me, and altogether for being my little sister. I love you, and I will always follow you, even into a shark tank. So now please give your attention to the star of the show, Kinneret.